Hey everyone, welcome to the Super Review Show's live stream of a recap of E3, coming to you live from the J Cave. Joining me on this special occasion is Mr. Andrew Schultes, Asm of Earth in the chat board if you don't know him. He is back once again to talk all things video games with us tonight. How you doing tonight, Andrew?
I'm doing really good. Built a gaming PC recently, so that's pretty fun.
Good.
And playing some cool video games, you would say.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, and I'm ready to talk about my thoughts and the recap for this year's E3.
Yeah, I am feeling very good about this stream. This is something that we've talked about the last time we did a video game discussion, but this time we're actually going to do a recap of E3. I'm like full disclaimer on my end, I am in no way, shape, or form a video game. I like video games, I just don't play them. It's unfortunate, but there are way cooler people than me. He's right there.
And if you have any questions regarding E3, like what your favorite things were, you can just feel free to ask them in the chat.
Yeah, definitely. And let's see. Let me share my screen with all of you just to recap what's going on here. That way you guys can have an idea of what's going on. We're going to do some stuff for E3 coverage right now as I pull up on mine. So, Andrew, what exactly happened at E3 this year?
Well, first, let me just do a quick recap of what did not happen last year. There was no E3 last year. It was canceled. So this was the first E3 that was all virtual, it's quote unquote. Because last year it was the event entirely was canceled, and publishers and developers did their own virtual like videos essentially. Gotcha. This year they had more of a live, well not live. They did sort of like live streams in which it was in a closed environment. There was no audiences, and they had just like developers, and they had interviews with developers on stage on a little like stage of their own making. So this was it was all virtual essentially. This was not like the big in-person event like E3 2019 where they had huge stage with thousands of people on with a giant screen. Now, this was very self-contained E3 due to the COVID regulations and stuff like that.
Okay.
So with that being said, the event sort of started unofficially the Thursday, I believe the 10th. Let me just pull up my calendar real quick. I had a calendar going of what events, the big ones I want to see. So I believe, yes, Thursday, June 10th was the quote-unquote Summer Games Fest. This started with a guy named Jeff Keighley. He's big in the video game industry as a like announcer. He has his own. He hosts every year at the end of the year a video game awards ceremony where it's like a it's sort of like the Oscars for video game. He hosts that, and it's like his organization. So he did this little thing called the Summer Games Festival that started 2 days before the official E3 started. And this was mainly like the unofficial kickoff to the event. And this was it talked about it had a very diverse thing. One thing I want to mention about this E3 was that it wasn't all that good.
Okay.
It was all over the place. There were some developers and stuff that had really good conferences, the others that did not. So the Summer Games Fest didn't pertain to one developer or publisher. It was a giant like conglomerate of stuff. There was we had developers that were originally that made Call of Duty games. They showed up. They had a bunch of indie developers there at the showcase for this. But the biggest thing for me personally, I believe a lot of people, was finally a gameplay reveal of the next From Software game called Elden Ring. This is a game that got announced back in 2017, I believe. No, not 2017, 2019. Yeah, and we finally got to see gameplay for it, and it's a day one purchase for me. I'm really excited for this game. For those who are not aware, this is made by the guys that did Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, but this time has a collaboration with George R.R. Martin, the guy who did Game of Thrones. So what happened here was that George R.R. Martin, he made like basically made an outline of the lore and like the story of this game, and then he gave it to the developers and to take from there. And I'm very excited to see what this game is. It's probably personally my biggest reveal, my biggest like excitement part for this upcoming year. It comes out next year in January, I believe the 22nd of January. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Because the From Software games, they are a very solid group of developers. They know how to make a good game, essentially. Then for the I forgot one thing prior. I'm gonna probably spend a lot of time talking about this one because this is I'm very not sure what to say about this right now, but a couple days before the Summer Games Festival, one studio decided to do like a cinematic reveal, no gameplay, just cinematic reveal for the next upcoming game, and that was DICE. They did Battlefield. Next Battlefield game is called 2042. That's the name of it right here, and that means the year the game takes place is 2042. It's set in the near future, which I am 100% down for. It has a modern setting, which sounds great. The only problem is it's like they went and changed the like main formula of the game for me. It's like they have this. Let me actually give a recap, because in the Battlefield franchise, 2042, yeah, that one, the top one.
Sorry about that.
So the main thing in the Battlefield franchise is that it's not supposed to be realistic or anything. No one cares about the realism in these games. They're a first-person shooter, and they always have this class-based system in which you have there's 4 different classes you can play as, usually 5 in some instances, in which it's like you play as a medic, you play as an assault, a support, and a recon. Each one has its own role because you're then placed in a squad, and you basically go and capture objectives and stuff. This game, they are getting rid of that system and replacing it with what appears to be like a hero shooter type Rainbow Six inspired specialist system, which, and I'm going to be completely honest, if I want to play a hero shooter or a specialist type combat system, I'm just going to play a different game. There's so many other games that do that. There's Rainbow Six Siege. There's that's actually Rainbow Six Siege was their quote unquote main inspiration for this new system, and I just don't agree with that in sort of a Battlefield setting. And then for games like Apex Legends, where it's published by EA. It's another EA company. Same thing with DICE. It's just like they copied their own like other studio, because there's this one guy because they showed a gameplay trailer a couple of days later after they did a reveal trailer. You show one guy that has like a grapple hook, and it's like, okay, cool, yeah, I'm fine with grapple hooks. I love grapple hooks. The fact is just like, it's just like a character from Apex Legends. Like, why would I want to play as a character from Apex Legends when I could just in a Battlefield game? If I want to play as a character from Apex Legends, I'll just go play Apex Legends instead. It's a weird system. I don't know why they decided to change it. I was in short, like, long story short, I was hyped for about an hour after the cinematic reveal trailer for this game came out, because I was like, oh, it's going to look amazing and everything. And then after the trailer came out, these articles came out talking about how the game works and all that stuff. And then I just read about the specialist system, and it's like, why did they get rid of the classes and stuff like that? And then the worst part about it is, like, in Battlefield 4, for example, a game came out back in 2013. I've been playing it recently on my own computer. Is that you're set in it's like U.S. versus Russia versus China, essentially. Those are the teams you can play as. And so when you're playing as the U.S., you can clearly see, oh yeah, that's a Russian guy over there. Yeah, it's like a Russian uniform on. Like it's like you can clearly tell who's who, essentially. I fear that that's not going to happen in Battlefield 2042, because every side like you play as is going to have access to the same characters and not going to have their own like unique appearance per team you play as. It's because it's like they have this U.S. team and they have a Russian team. Then they have this thing called like the no-pats, which is where these specialist characters come in. And from what I gather, you're only going to play as these quote-unquote no-pats. And it's honestly, I don't understand why they are doing it. This is earlier, was it last time we did a video game discussion? I remember Kyle was a big fan of this franchise. I kind of want to talk to him about it and see what he thought about it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kyle could not be here tonight, but that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's like everything about this game, like I was excited for, and then it's just like that one change in the system. I'm just like, why did they do this? Doesn't make much sense to me, honestly. Other than that, that's my main like criticism with Battlefield right now. I mean, I was originally gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be a day one purchase for me. But now it's more like it's either I'm gonna wait till it comes out for free for like a PlayStation Plus subscription, or I want to give it a fair chance and get like and play the beta, like a beta test for it, and see what that game plays like. If the game still plays good and like my worries are basically pushed off to the side, and if that's like, okay, the game's good, I might actually then buy it. But at this moment, I am really concerned for this game, unfortunately. And I know a lot of people are very excited for this game. So it's mainly my personal preference, honestly, I think at this point.
There's someone I work with outside of the Super Review Show who's actually a big fan of Battlefield, and he's like, and I wish he was here listening to this or watching this, but he's a big fan of Battlefield too. And I don't know, he was saying some stuff about it, and I mean, like I said, guys, I don't really know a lot about games, but this is why I have the infamous Andrew Schultz here. So anyways, continue. My bad.
Yeah. So basically, as I said, they showed a gameplay trailer. The gameplay looks like clean. It's going to be the biggest Battlefield yet, meaning you're going to play with 128 other people per match.
Wow. So even I know that's crazy.
Right now, say if I were to play Battlefield 4, Battlefield 5, or Battlefield 1, the max amount of players you can play with is 64. That means 2 teams of 32. So 32 people on your side, 32 people on the other side. And that's still a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now, for PlayStation 5 owners, Xbox Series X owners, and PC players, they will get access to that full 128 player lobbies. And I feel that's going to be like, that's massive. I'm really looking forward to see how they do that. I'm just concerned with like that specialist system, because when you get rid of classes, you get rid of sort of like a balance thing, because in the other Battlefield games, the classes are what balance the game, right? Because in Battlefield 4, for example, only one class has access to rocket launchers, the engineer class. And you can put, I believe, like C4, like you get like a C4 gadget that you can put on other classes after you progress them and play them for a long time. But only one class can have access to a rocket launcher, and that's the engineer. And those things are great for taking out helicopters and tanks and other armored vehicles. Now, in Battlefield 2042, with a specialist system, they are getting rid of classes and allowing everyone to have a rocket launcher, essentially. So what I fear is it's like, all right, yeah, I just spawned in a tank in Battlefield 2042. I'm going to go and try to capture this point. And next thing you know, every enemy in my vicinity has a rocket launcher, and I don't get to use my tank, essentially.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm honestly worried about how they are going to balance those things. And if it was the regular class system, it'd be easy. You didn't have much to worry about, because only one class has access to the rocket launcher. Sort of like also how the medic is the only class that can revive players outside of your squad, for example. But now, like, okay, I can play as this one character, and now I can revive everybody. And it doesn't, which is like sort of like the medic from other Battlefield games. The only problem is I could be a medic now who can revive everybody and also have a rocket launcher to take down tanks. It doesn't like it. It's a weird balance that I'm not too keen on.
Yeah,
So
it does sound a little like confusing compared to most.
yeah.
Yeah, so
It's like it's a bit overly complicated. I feel like they could have just like copied. I would not mind if they just copied and pasted the same like class loadout, like the class system from other Battlefield games. I would be completely fine if they did that. But no, they had to do this weird change up, and honestly, I don't think it was worth it. I don't know. I have to wait until see they announce like a public beta or something like that I can play the game early before I like buy it.
mhm. All right.
So moving on from that,
Yeah.
the main after let's see the summer games fest, they I believe Ubisoft, they had theirs on the Saturday after the summer games fest. I believe that was the 12th. um I'm not too big on Ubisoft titles, but they have games like Assassin's Creed. They own the Tom Clancy license.
Okay.
um they did not show anything really new, other than stuff we've seen before. Like they showed off some more Far Cry 6. We've seen that already. Um,
Yeah.
they shown off a new Tom Clancy like zombie game or something. Not zombie game. It's a weird thing. Honestly, Ubisoft is weird with this Tom Clancy title because they just attach that to everything. The Tom Clancy like brand. It has like nothing to do with like Tom Clancy. I don't think anymore.
Mhm.
It's just a brand that they just throw and attach things to, and like there are good like Tom Clancy games that they've made. Like everyone wants a new like Splinter Cell game. It's like you play as it's a stealth game made in the Tom Clancy universe. That you play as a guy named Sam Fisher. There has not been a game since like 2012, I believe, and they're not making a new one. It hasn't been like a new one in years. There was I think like the character made a cameo in one of their spin-off games, but other than that, there's been no like main Splinter Cell like franchise edition. Um, One game that did look cool at Ubisoft was this game called Riders Republic. It's basically a so let me give you a little quick story. A couple years back, they came out with this game called Steep. It's a snowboarding, skiing. It's a winter game essentially. You can snowboard, ski down mountains, and you can paraglide, and as well as like wingsuit stuff. It was a pretty cool title. Has some novelty to it, but I feel like that novelty wore out after a while because you just snowboard and stuff like this. Riders Republic, on the other hand, is like if they took Steep but then added in a bunch of other sports like bicycling, like downhill mountain biking, motorcycling, and all this other fun stuff. It actually looks quite intense at some points because you're playing with like 50 other players. It's really cool looking. Like
Oh wow.
how many other people you'll be with in this game. So it's kind of cool. And they still have like snowboarding and skiing and stuff, but now it's like they included biking, and it's honestly kind of interesting. If that game's ever on like the PS Plus subscription where you can get games for free for like a month, I might definitely like pick that one up and take a look at it.
And the graphics look pretty good too.
Oh yeah, so the next gen graphics are really good looking. Because the only issue is just getting a system that can run next gen level graphics. Like there's a shortage of them right now, so they're really hard to get. But the games are looking good. Ubisoft interestingly ended their stream with a really unique announcement. Um, the so they are working on a Avatar game.
Like the blue people?
Yeah, James Cameron Avatar is getting a video game.
Is it called Republic City by chance?
No, that's probably from like the Last Airbender or something like that.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
Yeah, so let's look up like Avatar. Yeah, video game.
Here we go.
Yeah, so the one like top left corner from the Verge. Yeah, that was from the reveal trailer. They made a new game engine for like so it could run like next gen So it's only going to be on next gen consoles.
Okay.
There's been no gameplay yet, so any of these gameplay images that you're seeing right now are not from it. They only showed off a cinematic trailer for it. It looks so that's an in-engine like shot from the trailer essentially. They didn't show any gameplay. It's just like I had no idea that they were working on something like this, because like when was the last time you thought, yes, I want to play an Avatar video game from the James Cameron universe?
Right.
But hey, it looks nice at least.
Now, the graphics look incredible.
Yeah, like I said, it's a new engine they made to run their games in. And they made it solely for this game, so that's the point of why they showed it off last.
That's cool. It looks great though. Seriously.
Yeah. So moving on with to the big day Sunday with Microsoft and Bethesda. Now, a couple months ago, or at least I think a couple months at this point, Microsoft Corporation had bought publisher Bethesda and all their titles. So now they did a joint conference where they are together, and they started off with a reveal for their game Starfield by Bethesda. Bethesda started off first. Now Starfield is going to be exclusive to Xbox and PC, and they didn't show any gameplay about it. And I really don't know what the game is about per se, other than the fact that it's a Bethesda game set in space, and they're not copying like other games that try that before. I don't think it looks like it's more of a realistic type of space thing, because when Bethesda, they're known for Fallout, Elder Scrolls, stuff like that, and I feel like they have like a sort of like their own unique style to how they approach things, because I feel like when you can tell when a game is made by Bethesda, like they have like some sort of like wacky, I think that's not the term I'm looking for, but like they have that unique look to it. This game though, Starfield, looks to be not like that. It looks to be more like a like I said, realistic. I'm not sure if that's the right term for this as well, but the game is set to come out next year in late November, so it's still a ways away. So I don't think we will see any gameplay until next year. And then let's see what else was. And also a while back, there's this game that came out called Sea of Thieves. So this game is like a pirate multiplayer game. They play as pirates and everything. They have this. They announced this weird collaboration with Disney, in which Captain Jack Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean is in the game now. It's like they have this new expansion. It was honestly a pleasant surprise, because no one saw it coming. Essentially, it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, why not? At this point, it's like something you didn't see coming, but you're probably fine what's happening anyway. Now, I've never played Sea of Thieves before, but I know it has its moments essentially. I
mean, it looks cool.
It looks cool, yeah, and like it's meant to be played with friends. Like it's not meant to be played solo. So you basically just play as friends. You pretend you're pirates, and that's about it. And now they add in a whole entire element with like the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff, and it's actually kind of funny.
Yeah. I wonder if Johnny Depp's gonna come back and voice.
I don't think he did, because in the trailer they actually showed off Captain Jack, like he was talking and everything. And I don't think he actually voiced him. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure either. So,
let's see. I think that one of the biggest things from Microsoft. Actually, wait. Before I talk about this next title, I want to talk about this other game called Stalker 2. It's a sequel. To that right there.
Gotcha.
So this game looked very interesting. It looks very good too. Like graphically, it's insane. Supposedly this has been like a long-awaited sequel. It's I'm not sure how it's based off the Stalker movie, but I know it's sort of set in that universe. It looks very nice, I must say. Like the gameplay wise, it's very smooth, very good looking. And I was watching this with my brother, like when they show off a trailer for like a gameplay trailer for it, and like he's actually following along with like, oh, they're doing this thing. They're throwing like these metal bolts like out just to like know where to walk and where not to walk. And like, oh yeah, they do that in the movie. So like, oh, that's pretty cool. But one of the cool things about this, it was like that this was like, I guess, in development for such a long time, and no one's heard a thing about it until now. So that's really cool to think.
Yeah. It looks cool too, just by the look of it.
Oh yeah, it looks really nice. Yeah, the bottom left corner, that's an actual like gameplay screenshot from the trailer.
Nice.
Once it loads in. And the
There you
trailer
go.
for it was really cool looking. It's set in Russia, as you can guess, in Chernobyl, as the name suggests. I have no idea what else the game is for, and what the story is about. It seems from what I remember, I never saw the movie Stalker, but I did my brother did tell me about it, and also there's some real life stuff tied to that name. I believe stalkers are like their guides sort of through the Chernobyl like exclusion zone essentially.
Okay.
I'm not too sure. So I might be interested in looking in this game when it comes out. It definitely looks very nice. I know I have a friend who was very excited when this was shown off. Let's see. Now
Nice.
the next the biggest title probably from the Xbox showcase was Halo Infinite. This was
Cortana?
no, just Halo Infinite.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah, Infinite is the subtitle.
Okay.
So this is the I'm not sure if it's the final installment in the Halo franchise, but it's the newest one story-wise. It takes place after 5.
Nice.
It's very nice looking, I must say. They went back to the old art style that was known for Halo, because Halo 5 had this weird armor design and art style that not a lot of people liked. So this one, they're going back to like the old Halo 3 design, and they showed off like the story trailer that looks pretty cool. But then the main thing was that they showed off a multiplayer trailer, because one of the main aspects of Halo that makes it well known is the multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks really fun, I must say. And then the crazy part about it is that it's free to play, as it right there. So that means you don't have to buy Halo Infinite to play the multiplayer. It comes as a separate package essentially.
That's great.
The only problem I can see that happening though is that when you buy Halo Infinite, you're only buying the story essentially. That means the story has to be really good to make up for the price to purchase it. Otherwise, because in other games you buy the Halo, like Halo 3 for example, you buy Halo 3 and then you get the multiplayer with it. You that's how you get the multiplayer. You have to buy the game. Now in Halo Infinite, the story that has to be really good in order to warrant that. Okay, I'll pay full price for this essentially. But the multiplayer itself looks really fun, and I'm glad I have a PC to play. But honestly, the main thing with this E3 actually that got me going was the fact that I'm actually kind of tempted to buy a Microsoft like Xbox console, because I'm normally a PlayStation guy. I have a PS4, and I have never owned an Xbox before in my life. And now this year with Microsoft, they showed off a really good lineup of titles that honestly is just like, I'm kind of tempted to buy an Xbox and go to a different platform essentially. Because right now Sony didn't I'm just gonna say right here, Sony did not do anything for E3. They had no press conference, nothing like that, no live stream talking about upcoming games. They were very quiet about it. I'm not sure why.
Interesting.
I feel like they had the sort of arrogant per se. It's just like, yeah, we're too good to show up for E3, and it's just like, oh, okay, you guys do that, all right. But it's just like Sony not being there and not showing off any titles does not get me excited to buy a PS5. Doesn't give me much reason to. Microsoft actually showing off games that I want to play makes me actually kind of want to go out and buy a Xbox One or an Xbox Series X. That's that's one thing with Xbox is like their titles are so weird. I mean, even though I just said I don't like I don't know what to get for PS5. The name PS5 is just so simple, and how PlayStation names their consoles: PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and then he got Xbox over here was Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and now the newest one, Xbox Series X. Like, why can't they just name it like 1 to 5 at this point? It's so weird.
I completely agree.
But yeah, no. In the multiplayer, like I said, it's gonna be free to play. It's gonna be. It looks really fun to play as, and also that you can customize your character so well in it by the looks of it. Now after they showed off Infinite, there was one other game that really got me thinking, oh, I kind of want to get an Xbox. Was they showed off the next Forza Horizon game, Forza Horizon 5. This is it's I know your friend Jake's the car guy. He showed me this before.
Forza Horizon 5, you said, right?
Yes, 5.
Okay. Gotcha.
This is it's a car game. It's a racing game.
Jake, good guy.
It's a it's not a simulator. Well, Forza, at least the Horizon games, the simulator. Horizon's more of a arcade simulator, whereas Forza Motorsport is their hardcore simulator. This game is set in Mexico, as that's the last one was set in Britain. But it looks phenomenal. It has such a diverse locales. Essentially, you have deserts. You got a volcano mountain with snow on it. You have long highways. It just looks absolutely incredible, and I'm really tempted to buy. I already have a wish list to my account on Steam. Because I'm tempted to buy this game when it comes out. I really want to play it because I've been wanting to play Forza for a while now. But I figured they were announcing because I heard some leaks back before, a couple months back, saying oh yeah, they're working on 5 right now. It's going to be open it's going to be set in Mexico. And I'm like, okay, well if 5 is going to be coming out soon, I probably don't want to buy 4 right now. I'll probably wait till 5, and I'm kind of glad I wait until 5 because this game looks really, really good. And also one thing is that it's a big emphasis on off-road vehicles. It's really cool. So you have the new Ford Bronco in there. It's and you have all these Jeeps and off-road cars. But then you have these roads that are these long highways for the fast hypercars. And it's that's what I want to try to do. I want to make a drift car or something like that. It looks really fun, and the game looks absolutely incredible. The level of detail they added to the location is really good. I'm honestly really impressed with it. That was my main takeaway for the Microsoft conference. Of course, they talked about much more than what I talked about. That's right. A game that I didn't play. They announced a sequel to the game called Outer Worlds. So Outer Worlds 2 got announced. I never played the first one. I know I have friends. My oldest brother, he played the first one. They liked it. This is made by Obsidian Entertainment, and Obsidian is known for making. They did KOTOR 2, for example. They've done Fallout New Vegas. Basically, they've stepped in. They in Bethesda have this weird relationship because honestly, when Bethesda came out and made Fallout 76, everyone hated it and everything. It was really bad and still is pretty bad. Obsidian came out and announced, "Hey guys, check out this RPG we're making. It's basically Fallout in space," and everyone loved it. So it's oh yeah, So basically, it's like when anything Obsidian related comes out, it's basically a better Bethesda essentially. It's honestly kind of funny. And now they announced a sequel to Outer Worlds, so that's pretty cool. I never played the first one, as I said, but I know a bunch of people were very excited for this game. That was and then they showed off some DLC updates for 76. No one, it's Fallout 76. So take from that what you will. Can't remember what else they had. Some of the main titles like people were hoping for from Bethesda were not there. People wanted to see what the next Elder Scrolls game looks like. That's probably still years and years away from ever being shown. There was no mention of the Indiana Jones game that Bethesda is working on, so that's still years and years away. And then there was no mention of it's other game that Obsidian Entertainment is working on. That is pretty much Obsidian's version of the Elder Scrolls. As I said, they just make, Obsidian just makes better Bethesda games essentially. So yeah, that was pretty much my take with Microsoft. The big things was them, as I said, Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5. Surprisingly, were my big takeaways from that game because they both look really good. After Microsoft, there was some pretty bad press conferences. I don't really want to talk about them too much. I didn't really watch them other than a couple of minutes of the Square Enix one. Square Enix, they're a Japanese developer. They make a lot of Japanese role-playing games. One of the more recent games was that Marvel Avengers game that came out that didn't do well. They announced now they made a Guardians of the Galaxy game. And they showed off, from what I remember, they showed off a lot of gameplay from that one. That one seems to be different from the Avengers game, in which it's going to be purely single player. It's mainly just a single player story rather than the Avengers having this weird like multiplayer aspect to it. So yeah, they showed off a lot of it. People were actually kind of excited for this one. It looks okay, from what I can tell. I didn't watch too much of the Square Enix one to warrant being excited for it. But if it's good, I guess it's good. Then they did not show off Final Fantasy 16 trailer, which I want to try out sometime, but they didn't show off that. There weren't much, like I said, other than the main ones, there weren't any good press conferences. I said E3 this year was kind of bad because it's the first year like getting back into it. Games are still slowly coming out. I think next year is going to be much better because we'll have a bigger library at that point, and focus will be entirely on next generation games instead of keeping it limited to previous gen. Oh, actually, I just remember something from the Microsoft showcase. It's a side-scrolling game called Replaced, I believe. It's a that one right there. It looks really cool looking. It has this pixel art as aesthetic. So it's a 2D side scroller. I think it looks like it seems to be like a beat 'em up. It's just one of those games that looks very interesting, and I love the art style for it. I probably will buy this when it comes out because it looks really cool. And then, all right, back to the main thing. Monday was not mentioned, not much, no while, but Tuesday was the last day of E3, and this is when you had Nintendo show up. And I want to see, what did Nintendo start with? Oh, that's right. So Nintendo started. They're basically like, Nintendo's usually always last when it comes to E3. They always like go last because a lot of people sleep on them. They don't like, only Nintendo fans sort of like really care about them at this point. I still watch them for the fact that it's some cool new games. So they started with a Smash Fighter reveal. It's a character from Tekken. It's I don't remember the name of it. I think it was Kazuya or something like that. I've never played Tekken before. A lot of you can tell from the internet's reaction when he was announced that a lot of people also didn't play the game before. But it's a cool representation for that franchise, because essentially, the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is like a way to represent other franchises, I guess you could say. So it's a cool way to get like indie game representation, as well as support of like other franchises and characters. Um, so that was a cool addition that I was fine with. One of the big takeaways from the Nintendo presentation was this game called Metroid Dread. Now, a couple years back, they announced that they back in 2017, 4 years ago, they announced they were working on Metroid Prime 4. Now, we haven't heard anything about that like since until 2 years ago. They announced that, hey, we're not canceling the game. We're giving it back to a different development studio that actually worked on the first Metroid Prime games, 1 through 3. So development basically restarted. But we have this new game called Metroid Dread that is they showed off. Now Dread has an even more interesting story than Prime 4, because this game was announced 19 years ago, and they tried working on it, but the hardware was not physically capable of running the game.
Really?
Yeah. So it was essentially canceled. And now, 15 years later, they came out and said, hey, we're actually making this game now. It's like the 5th installment of the franchise. It's the first brand new Metroid game in 15 years. And here's like a gameplay trailer for it. And this is going to be I can tell this is going to be a day one purchase for me, because I really like this franchise, I must say. I played Super Metroid on the SNES. My main introduction to this franchise was through Metroid Prime, which is a first-person shooter. Yeah, but the other games were known to be 2D side-scrollers. And that's what Metroid Dread is going to be. Metroid Dread's 2D side-scroller, but it was a modern taste to it. And I'm very excited to play it, because it's also a new Metroid game. I'm definitely looking forward to be playing this day one. And it comes out this year, too, like late in October, so it's not that far away. So that's really cool. So that's one thing cool with Nintendo. Usually they like to they like to really like show off games that they like to have these game trailers show off, and then like they always surprise people with like, oh yeah, it's going to come out later this year. Like usually in Nintendo they still have games that are like, oh yeah, we're working on it right here. It's going to come out like a couple of years from now, essentially. But like I always love it when game developers in general does it show off a game trailer that looks really cool, and then they say, oh yeah, it's going to be available later this year for you to buy. And it's like, that's really cool. I love it when they like no you don't have to wait that long. Other games that they announced, they announced the remastering another dead franchise they had called Advance Wars. This was like it started on like the Game Boy. It's a little like strategy game it was on the Game Boy, it was on the DS. They haven't touched the franchise, and again, like probably around 19 years they haven't touched this game. And now they're remastering 1 and 2. So I'm like, okay, that's another big purchase for me, because no one has ever everyone has been like wanting a game, one of these franchises to come back, the franchise to come back, and now they're finally like remastering 1 and 2. So now like, oh, maybe since they're remastering 1 and 2, they'll actually make another installment in the franchise if this one sells well. So that's really cool. So I'm looking forward to playing that. It's just a cute little strategy game, essentially. And now the last big reveal from Nintendo was Breath of the Wild 2, essentially. I don't think there's a subtitle for it yet. It's just Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. That's what everyone's calling it. So Legend of Zelda is one of Nintendo's biggest franchises. is one of the games that put them, or franchises that put them on the spot essentially. And Breath of the Wild came out back in 2017. It was a launch title for the Nintendo Switch, and the main point of that game was that, or the selling point was that it was a massive open world. And this one is a sequel to it, and not many people know what the story of this is yet, but it still looks really fun to play. I'm very interested to see where this goes. They didn't give a release date for this one, but they announced that it was going to be coming out. They gave a release window. It's going to be coming out in 2022. So it's still at least a year away. And given what the pandemic holds, it might be delayed even further. Who knows? But it's still cool they showed off more gameplay for it. So it looks very interesting. I'm excited to see what they do with it. So yeah, that was the main developers so far for E3. One thing I want to mention is that I said earlier, Sony has not done anything yet.
Right.
Because they're weird like that. I think they might wait until July, honestly, which is next week.
Yeah.
EA, the studio, they have Star Wars and stuff like that, and they're doing Battlefield. They might show off something next month. They're on the 22nd. That's when they actually have a conference to show off games. I don't know why they decided to do that so late, but I feel if we're ever going to see anything Star Wars related, it's going to be until on the 22nd. Well, that's probably when we're also going to see like a gameplay demo for like Battlefield 2042. That's when they're going to announce one. So it's still a ways away. But yeah, EA is on the 22nd of July, so I'll be watching that when it comes out.
Hopefully, are there any?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was going to say, are there any? Just out of curiosity, are there any new Star Wars games in development? I mean, I haven't really paid attention. That's why.
Yeah. So there's I know at least 2 right now. So the thing there's this Nintendo showed off an exclusive a while back. I think it was called Star Wars Hunters. It was just a cinematic trailer. And it's going to be exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. I'm not too excited for this one because it seems to be like it's a mobile game ported to the Nintendo Switch. It's going to be a hero shooter basically. So who knows how that go? But now Ubisoft is working on a Star Wars game. From what I can tell, no information's been dropped on that. Other than I think that it's like open world. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So no one, I don't know what the setting of it is. I don't know. Oh yeah, they actually, Ubisoft actually like announced that they were working on one. So that was like a while back. Because because EA had a contract with Disney to have the publishing rights for 10 years, I believe, back when Disney purchased Lucasfilm.
Right.
So that contract is essentially done and over with because I think they actually like Disney got out of that contract and they got rid of it because there were like very few games that came out from the EA deal that were good. So what happened was basically Lucasfilm Games took over. That's the new publishing studio. And now they're basically giving developers rights to develop games for them. That's why we have that Indiana Jones game from Bethesda. We have this Star Wars open world game from Ubisoft. And now we have that one game for Nintendo. And essentially, I think we're going back to the quote-unquote golden age for Star Wars games. Because now we have creativity involved. Because we have a lot of developers now doing this. As we're getting a new Lego Star Wars game later. I don't know when that was coming out. We are going to be getting I believe it's been confirmed at this point there's going to be a KOTOR remake, or a Knights of the Old Republic remake.
A remaster or remake?
Remake.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so a remake that's a complete rebuild from the ground up.
Wow.
And a remaster is just a like touch for the graphics to make it look nice.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
The fact that it's a remake seems very interesting.
Yeah.
If we're talking about like games I want to see done, in the future for like Star Wars games.
Sure.
I want to see a Republic Commando game, because Republic Commando 1 is fantastic, and I would love to see either a new Republic Commando or like a continuation of that story, because it was a phenomenal game. It's a squad-based first-person shooter. You play as a Republic Commando right after the end of Episode 2, between Episode 3, and you play as the guy called Boss. Essentially, that's your nickname, and you're in this squad called Delta Squad. And basically, you have each of these characters you're with has the own unique personality. There's Scorch. He's yellow. He has he's like the explosive expert. Sev is the sniper, and then Fixer is like the tech or slash hacker essentially. And basically the game revolves around you going through these missions, and the main core part was knowing when to give an order to your squad of like delay suppressing fire over here, or stay over here and like do some covering fire. It's really fun. It's a really cool franchise, and honestly an underrated Star Wars game that not a lot of people talk about.
Cool. I want to shift gears for a second.
Go ahead.
I know that because this is something that caught my attention, of course. The new Indiana Jones game. I know there's not much known about it, but I do know there. I want to shed some light on something. I am a big fan of the Indiana Jones video games that have come out in the past. Lego Indiana Jones. I'm a big fan of I was a fan of Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings.
Oh yeah, that was the one for the Wii, I believe you played.
I remember the staff. Yeah, this game came out for the Wii, and when I played my Wii, I would play this game. I thought the graphics at the time for this movie was really great.
Yeah,
it was 2011 or 12 though, or 9, or I forget, whatever. But I thought this game was actually, the story of it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the story, but okay, Indy has to find Moses' staff. He has to, and then he winds up in the hands of like the Germans. It's like 1939. It's right after the Last Crusade. There was a multiplayer option. You could play as his dad at some points on a different story,
mm-hmm.
which I thought was interesting. But what I mean, look at these graphics now. I mean, they don't look that appealing today, but back in 2009 or 10, I mean, that was it.
Right.
The new Indiana Jones game. I'm excited because can you imagine the graphics for this type of game, this character and this environment today?
Yeah, that there's a lot of potential for it.
I mean, I am ready, man. I am beyond ready to see. Look, I might buy. I'm saying this on record. I might get an Xbox, whatever, or PlayStation, whatever, probably an Xbox. If they announce this game, I might actually either I'm going to come over to your place and play it, or you're going to have to come over to mine and we're going to play it together. Like I am that thoroughly excited to see this game through because I'm for those who know me for any period of time on the internet, I'm a big Indiana Jones freak.
Mm-hmm.
But this trailer, this like 10-second teaser trailer just stole my mind.
Yes. So the only thing though with this trailer though that you have to remember is it's a cinematic, so it's not representation of a final gameplay of what it's going to look like. But the thing is now next gen graphics are looking phenomenal. So
I've heard that, yeah.
You're pretty much guaranteed for a good looking game.
I'm like, I mean, this is just like this is just what it looks like here. But can you imagine like this? I mean, I don't care what story it is. It could be Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull 2 for all I care, and I'll still be excited because the graphics look that great.
Mm-hmm.
But I am thoroughly excited for this game.
Oh yeah,
and and they said Bethesda's doing it as well.
Yeah. Bethesda is the publisher for it.
Okay.
So it's probably going to be an exclusive to Xbox, since Microsoft now owns Bethesda.
Oh, so it will be Xbox probably.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Once more information comes out now, I'll let you know immediately.
Please do. Because I'm thoroughly. I mean, look, there's been like 2 major Indiana Jones games over the past like 25 years. And it was Staff of Kings and Emperor's Tomb. But the graphics for Emperor's Tomb looked it was from the 90s too. Oh no, that's the Fate of Atlantis. I'm thinking of the wrong one. This is the one from 2003.
I've never heard of this one.
Yeah, this game, I mean, coming from me, I mean, the graphic, it came out like 2005, 3, something like that. I mean, it was meant for the Xbox.
Yeah. First generation console.
The first Xbox, not Xbox 360 or anything.
Yeah.
This is like for those of you who are listening to it, you won't be able to actually see it. But if you Google Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, the actual quality of the graphics were for 2003 they were great, but for 2021 they looked like crap.
Yeah.
So, but I am very, very. It's for the PS2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
But way back then. So I'm excited though for a new Indiana Jones video game. And it's funny, the Indiana Jones video game, Staff of Kings, you could play Fate of Atlantis on it, which was pretty funny.
What was Fate of Atlantis?
The story goes, if you need to know the story, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, and the Fate of Atlantis. This video game came out in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at it. If, like I said, for those who are listening,
it was a point-and-click adventure.
Yeah, it was like for like a computer.
Yeah,
and you could play it online and stuff like that. But like this game was like basically he's finding Atlantis. That not to like rip up the exact title, but like this is like basically where he just goes. I'll show you a little bit of it. Basically, he goes and he's a click from LucasArts in '92. Oh my god! And he basically Indiana Jones has to. On the eve of World War II, he comes across an archaeology professor, and he basically, long story short, he has to find the Atlantis to save the world against the Nazis or something like that, to some extent like that. But it was a very great story. I was able to play it on the Staff of Kings game, which is a hidden feature apparently.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, I was able to play this game on that game as well. I remember so clearly. I was like, oh my god, I'm playing another game on another game. But like there's the Indiana Jones like lore in general is like there's a lot of stories that can go about it for the new game as well. It could be a brand new idea too. We have no idea yet.
Nice.
But I am curious to see where they go with it. I mean, aside from the graphics, I'm excited for. But as far as just a new Indiana Jones product in general, because we haven't gotten anything in a long time.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready for that too. So.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Anything else for you? But you got to let me know though. You got to let me know if anything comes up.
Oh yeah, I definitely will. So, let's see. What else was the big points of the E3? Are there any questions currently going on?
At the moment, no.
Okay.
So you're fine. Go ahead.
So, other than that, that was mainly E3.
Yeah.
Except Sony has not done anything yet.
Yeah. And when Sony does stuff, we can always do another stream as well for that stuff as well.
True.
I mean, when is their event? When is it in July?
I don't know yet. They haven't announced anything. That's the thing.
Okay.
EA has just planned theirs for the 22nd. But they're mainly just probably going to show off Madden, like next sports games.
Sports games, right? Like,
which aren't good. I must say.
2K or 2K14, stuff like that.
I think 2K is actually done by Activision, so that's a different developer or something like that.
Wait, just wondering, have you heard any? I know this may not be E3, but did anyone say anything about Guitar Hero coming back? I heard something about that at one point.
Oh no, actually, it wasn't Guitar Hero.
Rock Band?
There was another music game at Ubisoft called Rocksmith. Now, Rocksmith is interesting in which you use your guitar as the controller. Rocksmith Plus is the one they announced at E3 this week, a couple weeks. So this is the old one from like 2014. The new one is simply called is same title. There's a plus on the end.
Okay.
The game that you get on your computer, and you hook up your phone to your guitar, tune it, anything like that, and then you play on your actual guitar, and you learn how to play songs.
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, because
it's like a teaching service for guitar. It's very interesting, actually, kind of cool of an idea.
But it's a game as well. You said,
sort of, yeah. It's
well,
as you see,
game,
game. It's more like a learning system for like instruments.
That's funny.
In Rocksmith Plus, they have, I believe, an option for bass as well, so you can learn guitar and bass if you wanted.
Oh, that's sick.
2014, it was just the guitar, I believe.
But now it's the bass as well. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even know that existed. I might have to get my Xbox all set up, But because I heard somewhere like about a year or two ago, maybe 5 years ago, I don't even know, but Guitar Hero was coming back to some capacity.
I don't remember hearing anything about that because I feel like Guitar Hero is almost a bit of a dead franchise at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah.
Unfortunately, same thing with Rock Band. There hasn't been a new Rock Band game in ages.
Or even then they started to combine it with Band Hero. Remember that?
Like that was Guitar Hero's version of Rock Band or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't announce. I haven't heard anything from that franchise in a while. I think that franchise is honestly dead in the water at this point. I think Live was the last version that came out, and I don't think that was well received, which is unfortunate. But
yeah, it was a fun game too. But
yeah, played a lot of Rock Band when I was younger.
Yeah, I remember that. Rock Band. I haven't seen in a long time. Rock Band.
I remember playing Lego Rock Band.
That was great. Remember that?
Yeah.
Rock Band 3, and they had the drum set too.
Yeah, I had Rock Band 2 and then the Lego one.
The Lego Rock Band was a great move.
Yeah. It was such a weird thing, but it was so fun.
It was. I mean, the Lego characters are like that's their favorite. Like they're saying, like
Lego Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, there it is right there. There's a Lego Queen. Too funny, guys. Is there any other comments for like E3 or any other games and stuff, or do you have anything else to say?
I guess my main takeaway from E3, the one I'm most excited for, is Elden Ring. For my top three, let me give a top three, I guess, for E3.
Sure.
So, my top three is gonna be Forza Horizon 5 for number 3.
What was it again? I'm sorry.
Forza Horizon 5.
I got it.
That I already have it wish listed on my Steam account already.
Car game.
For number 2 is gonna be Metroid Dread.
Okay.
And then number 1 is Elden Ring.
Elden Ring,
yeah.
Elden, sorry, not the Elder Ring. Cool. E3. I mean, like I said, I didn't follow it, but you followed it closely. That's why I wanted to have you on tonight.
Yeah, it's like a tradition I follow each year. It's always something that I look forward to.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, like I said, I'm thoroughly excited to see what comes out of the Sony announcements as well. Whenever that may be, we'll talk about this off camera and off.
Yeah, and if anything worthwhile comes out from EA, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know, and then if you're available next time, we could shoot another one of these because we've been going for an hour. So
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, so I mean, do you have any other comments for E3 at all? You're all set though.
I just like I said, this year was kind of underwhelming in terms of E3 being virtual and stuff like that. So I think next year is probably going to be better. Then we're going to have more titles to talk about, I feel, and more stuff to show off because the games that were just cinematic this year, like Starfield, that was only a cinematic trailer. We won't be able to see much until next year. So hopefully next year we'll be able to see some more games and stuff that we want to see, and it'll be in person.
Definitely. I mean, I'm thoroughly excited to find out what comes out in E3 2022. So
yeah.
Well, I think that just about does it. I want to thank my good man Asma Verth, aka Andrew Schultes, in the chat board. Excuse me, on the chat board, and help me out tonight for some E3 announcements that came out over the course of E3, which we were meaning to get this on air for you guys, and we did it tonight. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are amazing. And like I said, when Sony comes out with their announcements, and also you said EA as well, right?
EA is on the 22nd.
Okay, all right. Well, I won't be here. I'll explain that in another video. But but basically, look, when that time comes, we'll have to cover some other stuff then too. That'd be fine as well, and we could definitely do some streaming at some point then. So sounds good, my guy. Thank you so much for coming on. By the way, it was a great pleasure having you.
Oh, I love being on this.
Yes, and nothing better than being on the Super Review Show. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. You guys are astounding. We hope you like what you've seen here. And we hope you like what you heard. Subscribe to this YouTube channel for all of your video game updates whenever we have them for you. And it's a pleasure doing this for you guys tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone.